Facebook. This is David with Tarot and Astrology for All. And hello, YouTube. This is David with Tarot and Astrology for All, bringing you guys your Taurus waxing moon reading, I guess you could say. Because, well, as it turns out, the shift from Aries into Taurus of the moon, it, well, okay, let's put it this way. When we look at the you know what? Hold on. Let me turn this off. All right, perfect. So when we deal with the ingress of the moon from Aries into Taurus, what we're talking about is the energy of the moon, which is usually our emotions, our feelings, our intuition, things like that. So when you get the moon going from Aries into Taurus, whereas Aries is more go-getter, I'm gonna create this, I'm gonna move forward with this, I've already done a little bit of the thinking that I had to do. The Taurus moon is more sit, in one spot, more stable. And when you think about the moon in Taurus, well, Taurus is good for giving good advice. Taurus is good for showing people how to follow the money. Taurus is good for showing people value, and that's one of the biggest things, how others view themselves as valuable to us. So um, without further ado, I would like to go with my usual spiel, but I think the information is already going to be in the description below, so make sure to check that out. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a quick reading for the collective and what it means for the collective to have the moon in Taurus, and then we're going to go into each sign to see how that affects every aspect of your life. Well, I wouldn't say every aspect, but the major aspects. And at the same time, I'm going to go ahead and keep this video short because the last one was long, but it's because I haven't done one in a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these shorter since I'm going to be more in tune with you guys and um, more interactive. So this is going to be just quick draws. I'm probably just going to do 1, 2, and 2 just to show what the energy is for these next couple of days. And every 2 weeks, and like right before the start of the like the new moons and stuff like that, I'll give you guys an in-depth reading to show what's going to happen for the entire moon phase. So since we're only dealing with the moon in Taurus, we are not going to go too much into this. And ooh, look at this. I was already like shuffling them wrong. All right. So let's see what the collective is going to be dealing with the moon in Taurus, shall we? All right. Ooh, all right, cool. So with the turtle coming out, well, and with the dolphin being at the bottom, it's fairly simple. Yesterday, excuse me, a couple days ago when the moon first went into Aries, for instance, I felt the need to bring to you guys a tarot reading. Then, over these next couple days, I let it sit there, I let it solidify and all that. So, with this energy of the turtle, we tap into our inner knowing, we tap into our inner knowledge, but more importantly, we tap into the knowledge of the universe. And a lot of the times, whenever we're swimming in the power of the universe, it's pretty much like the turtle. Sometimes we might feel in the dark. Sometimes we might feel like we need to protect ourselves, right? Going out into the unknown. That's usually what happens with energy of Aries. We jump out there and we do whatever it is that we want to do, but at the same time, we come to that space where we jumped out into the unknown. We're doing this, but then again, is it what we're supposed to be doing? And so with Taurus, it goes down to your values. So one of the things that the collective needs to ask themselves nowadays is, what do I value? Because in order for us to know what we have to let go and what we have to keep, we have to know exactly what it is that we have and the exact value to us. And once we actually figure out how much something is worth to us or the value behind it, then we know how much effort to put in, how much effort not to put in, et cetera, et cetera. So when we're dealing with the energy of Taurus, we're dealing with the energy that allows us to see, what stabilizes us, and at the same time putting more effort into that, because whatever it is that's a stabilizing factor in our lives, we want to remain in that stabilizing factor. So what I see here is the need to tap into the unconscious energy of the universe, that universal knowledge, right? That library, the akasha, as some might say, and also to emit that knowledge outward. And especially with Taurus, Taurus is the one that's supposed to be giving good advice to the rest of the zodiac. And of course, with the dolphin popping up for the community as a whole, and by community I mean the entirety of the planet, there's a need to be more playful. I think right now, especially since everybody's emotions are out of whack, and of course, with the dolphin and the turtle, both. You know what? Let me change this real quick. This is fairly annoying. Okay, so let's see if this works a little bit. Nope. All right, we're gonna have to go with the white or with the blue light, guys. All right, so this is gonna be a little annoying, but oh well. I've had my fair share of annoying stuff here before I went on to the video. But all right, so when you deal with the energy of the dolphin, let's see if I can focus this in. All right, so when you look at the energy of the dolphin, right? The dolphin is one of those playful creatures, and you know what? I know exactly why it's not working properly. All right, so there we go. All right, so with the energy of the dolphin, well, I don't know if you guys can see it, but when you look at the dolphin, you see these little rings around it. What happens is that these rings, when we emit a certain frequency of our own, we tend to draw others that take that energy and run with it, right? We draws us supporters. Well, right now, especially with this social distancing, well, it's not very possible for us to, be playful and social like dolphins, but it still allows us the ability to be intelligent, to draw upon that intelligence of the dolphin. My little doggy's right here. Okay, so tapping into this knowledge requires for us to be playful, but also to allow the universe to fill us with that knowledge, and so that we can emit it. And one thing that I know about dolphins is that, aside from being playful and intelligent, dolphins, they can recognize a lot of different things in terms of, like, what's a human, what's this, what's that species. It doesn't really matter what kind of species it looks at. It can feel the energy from whatever it is that's in the water, and it can recognize whether something is a threat or whether something is social. And so with the dolphin, that actually takes intelligence. So the dolphin, it emits this type of intelligence of being able to tell who's friend or foe. And of course, with Taurus, um, that inner knowing or that inner advice could be something that proves out to be very helpful. Now, I'm going to go ahead and draw some cards here now, so the fairy oracles can tell us what kind of energy we're going to be dealing with, what kind of emotional energy we're going to be dealing with, and let's see how this factors in to the collective. All right, so as a collective, we are in some way, shape, or form preventing a death from happening. Now, if this is a death that we're preventing from happening out of fear, then I would see why we would need the energy of the dolphin in order to be a little bit more playful and allow the universe to do whatever it needs to do, and also bringing this death to a close. Because as much as we might fear endings and conclusions, they usually wrap up a lot of different things that we have trouble going, you know, through, or we have trouble kind of finishing. So with that, with the five also, with the five and the three, it comes out to eight. So, in terms of the numerology here, we're dealing with the number eight, which is about karma. Where we're dealing with the Saturn influence here when we deal with the number eight and when we deal with karma, but we also deal with the Scorpio factors and you know putting things to death when we know we need to. All right. So, oh, look at that. All right. So as a collective, with the Piper in the reverse, this is one of those cards that shows us when the universe is trying to communicate with us. And the universe communicates by vibration. It doesn't communicate by, it could communicate by showing you angels and all sorts of different stuff, but for whatever reason, through the stuff that I've been studying, the angels cannot directly interfere with us, although they can help and they can guide us. I believe that our ascended masters and ancestors are really the ones that are able to interfere with whatever's going on. But I think even to a certain point, they cannot meddle with a lot of the different things that they wish they could. And of course, with the spirit dancer in the reverse too, at the bottom of the deck, kind of shows that as a whole, people are losing that spirit. People are losing that ability to kind of reach for their dreams and stuff. So this is why I do tarot, because it allows me to be able to give information to everybody, and at the same time, it allows people to understand their place. And so it's almost like a renewal of the spirit, right? It's like you go from not reaching for anything and not, having that spirit of faith to having that spirit of faith and reaching for it. Because if you look at this card, I don't know about you YouTubers, but for those of you who are on Facebook Live, I see you see this card pretty clearly. That three and that six, they come out to nine. So reaching for our personal goals, our personal ambitions, a lot of the times it can cause imbalances within a lot of different things, whether it's relationship, whether it's work, whether it's home. You really can't, especially in this time with Uranus in Taurus. There's really no way to understand what's going to happen except by trusting our intuition. And so I want to go ahead and let you guys know that the crocodile in the reverse right under the dolphin, it shows me that in some way, shape, or form, I think we're ready to come out of the water. Like we're ready to escape from wherever it is that we've been hiding, that deep, dark abyss. And now it's going to be time for us to poke our heads out of the water. It's going to be time for us to do what it is we need to do. It's good though, because look at this. When we deal with this energy here, we deal with the energy of balancing. The undressing of the salad, it's all about how we balance. And of course, with the dressing of the undressing of the salad in the upright, it shows that we're going to have stability, guys. So a lot of you guys might be feeling unstable right now because of the whole thing that's going on with the coronavirus and what's going on with the stock market and all of that. But look at, if there's anything that this card tells us, it tells us that there's a new process, a new event, a new cycle that's beginning, and we just have to have that childlike playfulness. It's the same thing that came out with the dolphin. So, as a whole, we need to focus on more on that natural energy of the universe, because once we have that ability to believe, then the changes that happen bring healing, and at the same time will allow us to put ourselves out much more um, much more readily. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and draw some of these cards here from the Rider Waite to clarify this energy, and then we'll go ahead and move into all the other signs. So, all right, let's see what's going on here with death. Universe, clarify this. All right, so I think as a collective, a lot of people haven't been doing things because they felt like maybe there was a lot of competition. Now, in terms of competition, yes, that could scare us away from, say for instance, uh, leaving the stage of, something that needs to end. And a lot of the times we know that we need to end it in order for us to be able to conduct, our soul's purpose, whatever it is that we need to do. And a lot of the times competition can scare us away from that because, for the most part, if we're not really confident in ourselves, then we'll let the competition beat us. But if we understand that we really don't have any competition, and that, you know, for instance, there's so many different companies out there, right? Big companies, conglomerates, and stuff like that. You know how they got rich? They went for 2%, 2% of the population. If you can make billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars, in a year, a month, a week, whatever, for these companies off of 2%, just imagine what you could do if you reach for a larger group. Now, I'm trying to do that, not necessarily for the money, but because I know that there's other people out there that need to hear these messages. So, for spirit to drive me to do this, then that shows that there's other people out there that need to be exposed to this. So that's why I do it. And that's why I hope that you guys can share it along, because that allows other people to hear those messages that they need to hear as well. But I don't view things as competition or not, because I believe that whatever it is that we're set here to do as a spirit is something that we're going to do regardless of whether there's competition or not. So I think people as a whole, the community needs to understand this, because that's when they put all their fears to rest, all their worries, all their doubts, everything that's keeping them back. They use this energy in order to end that cycle and begin a new one. Jumping into the unknown and everything. And so I think as a whole, society is afraid to jump into the unknown because, well, I mean, it's not fun. It's not like, well, not a coincidence, and it's not funny that the Ten of Wands came out, but the ten. I mean, it shows that society is stressed. Society is like I don't know. They've had it up to here. Well, not even up to here. Like they've had it up to here. And I think that society, in one way, shape, or form, is going to be, looking into this energy and understanding that the universe has been trying to uh, get a hold of us. But I think for the most part, right now, we're so busy with like all of these burdens that we have and all of these things that we need to do that we're not thinking about working in teams. We're not thinking about planning for the future. All we're worried about is ourselves. And I mean, if you're in a like position like where most people are right now, it's I don't know. They're focusing on the wrong things and not focusing on the things that they need to focus, right? Because we're talking about the main issues here when we see the Eight of Pentacles in the reverse. You know, this is about the work that needs to be done, and this could be anything, right? This is fortune before difficulty. I mean, this is fortune after difficulty that this is talking about and this is predicting. But in the reverse, I feel like these turn into the main issues, right? I mean, we're talking about what what is it that we need to complete as a society? What is what are our what are our actions taking us to, right? And that's exactly what we need to do when we have Taurus. I mean, the Moon in Taurus. Taurus is all about our values. So, what value do we bring to others? What value do others bring to us? And when it comes to those relationships, those business transactions, and whatnot, what are the most important issues that need to be taken care of, right? So that's that. But I think that once we figure out what these main issues are, which for the most part is not listening to the universe, being too stressed out, and not ending cycles because we're afraid to move forward and we're afraid to access our divine knowledge, right? The energy of the turtle right here. Then yeah, we're gonna be scared to move into the next cycle. But you know the Knight of Wands, and you mix it together with the Five of Pentacles in the reverse, this is, seeing the brighter side of things, right? And at the same time, this is moving forward with passion, charisma, and this is also moving forward with zest. I mean, this energy here is the energy of somebody having made up their mind, and they're just gonna go for it. I mean, if you talk about the wands are the fastest moving suit. So the thinking has already been done. The planning has already been made. This is something that's done within the two of wands and the three of wands. Because in the four of wands, you're dealing with the energy of stability. This is something that's already been created. And so as a Knight of Wands, once you move in from that page of Wands energy into the Knight of Wands, you go from looking into moving forward with it. And so I believe that as we get over, these things that have been happening, these things that we see the brighter side of things, because that's what the Five of Pentacles is about. We can actually move forward relentlessly. We can move forward ambitiously, and we don't have the necessary need of having to choose something, because we've already made that choice. But I think for the collective, there's a necessary need for us to find either the love within ourselves or the love within our significant others, and at the same time, when we can do that, as well as focusing on the main issues, then which are listening to the universe and letting a cycle end by trusting our intuition, we allow for the universe to turn the wheel of fate, and we allow for the universe to be able to move us through, or at the very least, give us a lot of options that we could choose from. But let's see what the collective is headed to here within these next couple of days as the moon is in Taurus, and then we'll see. Then we'll see how best we can move through it as each individual sign. All right, so we're dealing with happiness here. That was not too too surprising. Of course, a lot of this may have to deal with finances, but a lot of this does deal with making the choices that we need in order to reach our personal happiness. And a lot of the times, that road can be uh, boggy, to say the least, especially with Neptune and Pisces. A lot of the times we might not have a clear road to our dreams, but this is where tarot and astrology and all of this comes in. All right, so part of what's going on for the collective is that we're meant to be more adventurous. We're meant to be more playful, right? Because Sagittarians, I mean, I don't know if you guys know any Sagittarians, but they they're very jokester like. They tell a lot of jokes. They're pretty much carefree about what happens, and they have faith. So part of what's going on here is a necessary need to have a deep faith, because what I'm seeing here is Scorpio, Virgo, Libra, and then uh, the main sign at the top, which is Sagittarius. So I'm going to show you guys. This is the Scorpio aspect. This is the Virgo aspect. This is the Libra aspect. So, and then of course this is the Sagittarian aspect. So, we deal with this when we deal with the Sagittarian energy and Scorpio energy. This is a necessary need for all of us to have deep faith. At this point in time, if we have deep faith and we allow for the universe to create the circumstances that we need in order for us to move forward, and we actually learn those lessons, all of these wands right here that the collective is holding on to as a whole, they drop off. So of course, we when we deal with these kinds of things, we're dealing with relationships too. So for some of the collective, you guys are going to be dealing with relationships, and whether they end or whether new ones begin. A lot of the other signs are going to be dealing with having to. I mean, a lot of the collective is going to be dealing with that. Some of the collective is going to be dealing with being more playful, and others are going to have to deal with not just changes, but also how these changes take effect, and whether we actually have that childlike faith that they're going to happen. And so this is where we actually have to look at the details, guys, because we think about the Virgo aspect, we think about details, we think about analyzation and stuff. We got to analyze whatever it is that we're carrying. Are we carrying it because we have to? Is it our duty, or is it just a perceived duty? That's something that just came out at me right now. So there's that. Now, Jupiter. All right, so this is about doing things big, but it's also about expanding whatever it is that we've started already. I know a lot of people have been kind of pushed towards their north node, towards expression of their north node, because if you took a look at the die, you have the sun, right, and you have the north node right there, and so and then of course you have Jupiter right there on the top. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's Jupiter right there at the top. So the way that this fell, it's very interesting because in some way, shape, or form, having North Node and the Sun, working together with Jupiter, and if this is correct, then this is something big. It's about following. It's about expressing what we want to do. It's about expressing what we need to do, actually, because the North Node is where our soul's pulling us. It's where we grow. And the universe is asking us to expand upon that. But, excuse me, but along with that, it's about doing it big. Now's the time, guys. I mean, now's the time. But now that we're done with that, we're going to go ahead and go with each sign. I'm just going to draw one card for each sign to see what's going to happen within these next couple of days as the moon moves through Taurus, and what kind of issues each sign is going to deal with in that aspect. So let's see. Let's roll our handy dandy sign selector, right? All right. So Sagittarius, how about that? All right, Sagittarius. You guys are going to be dealing with a lot of energy from Scorpio, from Libra, and from Capricorn. Now, in terms of these signs, your main focus, I believe, is going to be relationships. At least for these next couple of days. When we deal with the moon in Taurus, we deal with value. So, how much value are your relationships bringing you, Sagittarius? Also, when we deal with the Capricorn energy, we're dealing with how well that relationship can be built. And at the same time, we deal with going in deep. So with Sagittarius, I believe you guys are going to be going in pretty deep with your significant other here within these next couple of days. I wonder how that's going to turn out. I believe that if you approach it with if you approach it in a way that would allow you to make compromises on both sides, I think that both of you can actually find a really deep love. And that's cool because, I mean, when you think about it, that's what we're looking for, right? We're looking for that deep, deep love, somebody who understands us. So, oh, okay. So, this is definitely about communication. And this is definitely about knowing, deep knowing. Trusting your intuition, Sagittarius. You are being called to trust your intuition right now. And, I feel like some of you guys are in a situation, a relationship, where maybe you haven't been able to say what it is that you want to say. Now, the reason I say that is because this black egg is usually about communication. The black egg is connected to your throat chakra. And when the black egg is in the reverse, well, when we have any type of egg, it's always something in the process, something being built. And so with this black egg, I feel like there's something that you've been holding on to, and I feel like now you're actually finally saying it. Um, with the black egg in the upright, it's about something that's building and something that hasn't been said. But when we look at it in the black with the black egg, I feel like some of you guys are now starting to say it, and if not, you guys will be soon. that's That's a very strong, very strong energy I feel there. Maybe it is necessary for you guys to say what needs to be said, because in one way, shape, or form, that's actually going to bring about a compromise. Well, sorry about that, Facebook, but it cut off, and we're only 30 minutes in. That's retarded, but whatever. I am just going to keep going, and if Facebook doesn't work, sorry, Facebook, but you guys can go ahead and go to YouTube. I will have my link to that right in the description of the video. And also, I'll put it out on my page too, so that you guys can quickly go to YouTube and resume course. All right, so let's see. What is Sagittarius dealing with? All right, so Saggy. Things are karmic. I feel like you guys are dealing with somebody who maybe would move shit from one place to another, not tell you. I feel like maybe you guys were working with somebody who would just kind of flip shit on its head. Um, Sagittarius, you guys are like probably the most open and flexible signs that I could think of, but I can see how that could get annoying. If somebody's like messing around with your energy and not allowing you to do the things that you need to do, there's definitely going to be a need to talk and a definite need to reach some sense of compromise. But that gnome is one of those. It's one of those influences that it's a karmic change that's meant to teach you how best to move forward with that energy. And I think you guys have learned that for the most part, but I feel like some of you guys still haven't like reached that point where you kind of rewind and actually say something about it. I feel like some of you guys have rewind actually a couple of times. At the very least 2 times. Like maybe you tried to say it and then it wasn't the correct time. But right now, I believe it's going to be the correct time to mention it. All right. So himself. Ooh, look at that. Yes. I believe a lot of you guys are focusing on yourself. Both the 2 and the 6 that you guys see here. I don't know if you guys can see it. The 2 6 and 1 7. They both come out to 8. 8 is definitely a factor here. And all of this is karmic. Like I mentioned to you guys, it's all karmic. It's all happening for you guys to reach more confidence in yourselves. One thing that I point out here is the heart chakra energy, the third eye, and the crown. This, in a sense, is allowing you guys to connect to your higher selves, so that you guys can say what you need to say without without well, well, without reprimand and without the necessary need to be yelled back at. Yeah. Oh wow! Look at that! Right at the top. Right at the top, the Arval parrot. Look at this. You cannot make this shit up, guys. So he's pointing at his throat here. But what's happening is, when we think about communication, we think about antenna, right? And these antenna, they're very, very thin. They're very, very fine lines of communication. I feel that with the arbor parrot showing up, it's not necessarily that you should say something as much as you should express it, because actions speak louder than words. So this is something that you're supposed to communicate in a way that you do it, but at the same time, show it by your actions. Don't say it by or don't show it by your words. If that makes any sense. So I think you've been working on this for quite a bit. And I feel that Sagittarians are now going to be moving into that space where you guys move into your full power. For those of you guys who are trying to connect on Facebook. I don't know why, but my connection sucks, and it's trying to reconnect, but it only reconnected like once, and that was it. So I'm just gonna keep going with YouTube. All right. Yeah. So there is something that you haven't walked away from. It's affected you on the emotional level. What it is that you haven't walked away from is this person, place, or thing that keeps flipping your energy, Sagittarius. And of course, wow, this is another eight, the Eight of Cups. So this is definitely hinging upon eight, karma. These things are happening for a reason, guys. This is happening for a reason, and now I just realized that this is more of a confirmation for you guys. So yeah, I mean, because I think deep down inside, you guys know it. Deep down inside, all Sagittarians know that this is a test of their faith. And, it's weird that I say test of faith because I've been talking to a lot of people on an intellectual level too, you know, kind of putting myself into the Queens of Sword energy. And what ended up happening was that, oh, for those of you guys who are just barely tuning in, my connection sucks. So if you guys have trouble looking at it there, I'll go ahead and post a link to my YouTube channel, and you guys can catch the full video there. Oh, and as far as the timestamps for the other video, I'll have those up soon. Also, so Sagittarius, there's something that needs to be said, but it's not something that needs to be said by vocal. It's something that needs to be said by action. This needs to be said to this person who you, for whatever reason, can't walk away from. And the energy that I see is something about expression, coming from the heart, right? Which I mentioned before with the collective reading, trusting your intuition and opening up that communication to source. Because, what's right under the Arvo parrot is the singer of intuition in the reverse. And also, I'm the retriever. Now, I feel like you guys have been trying to do things, but well, either you haven't been saying what needs to be said by, action, or you guys have like a kind of disconnect from the universe, from your intuition, obviously. And at the same time, when we deal with I the retriever in the reverse, this is telling you stop telling yourself that you can't. Because this is all for your happiness, Sagittarius. This is for your happiness. I mean, we're dealing with that 10 energy. This is what you want, right? You want the happy wife, happy life. You want, all your cups filled. You want a happy family. Like maybe even a house. But if you're not trusting your intuition, then you're not gonna get those things. And the thing is that once you actually trust your intuition, you actually turn into the magician. You know what? I'm gonna make a song about Sagittarius and how they need to trust their intuition if they want to reach fruition. Because look at right underneath that, and right underneath that is the Emperor and the Four of Wands. I know I mentioned the Four of Wands earlier in a different reading, if I'm not mistaken. But this I mean, we're talking about stability here, guys. This is to reach your own stability, and I feel that a lot of you Sagittarius have maybe been in like that, like angry, and I get that by the energy of the elk. But honestly, though, I think you guys just need to be more playful, and also make yourself heard. It's that simple, guys. Otherwise, you guys are going to be wondering, well, is this my time? Is this real? Can I trust this? And that right there is going to ruin it very, very much. So now I'm just going to go ahead and roll these die and then move on to the next sign. So moving in, this energy is definitely Libra based, right? But at the same time, this is about digging deep and also about being adventurous and, get out there. Get out there. If the person that you're with is not listening to you, then get out there. I mean, right now is a time when you guys are going to be trusting your intuition and being led to those specific people that need to be connected to you. Just that plain and simple. Uh, there is something that needs to be put to death. Obviously, I feel like you guys aren't doing it with that Ace of Cups in the reverse, but I feel like you guys are going to be focusing more on these relationships anyway, and so things are going to take the course they take. Now, let's see what kind of numbers. Yep, 3. We're dealing with communication here, but like I said, this is an intuitive communication that you know of, and at the same time, is doing it big by your actions, not your words. And at the same time, this will bring stability to your lives. And lastly, we're dealing with that Jupiter aspect. We're dealing with that Jupiter aspect for you guys. Um, this this moon in Taurus, I feel very much. You know what? I'm just gonna end this video here, and then of course I'll go to my chart. All right. All right. So we move to my chart. All right. So let's see. Sagittarius, Sagittarius, Sagittarius. All right. So Jupiter aspect. We're dealing with Jupiter in Capricorn, so we're dealing with the aspect of building. If something's not going to be built for you, why have it around? It's not going to serve a purpose. Something that doesn't serve a purpose is only taking your energy instead of adding to it. So, but this is very much having to do with that Uranus aspect in Taurus. I do believe that the moon is in conjunction with Taurus. With the Uranus right now. So, for those of you who feel like there are certain things that you need to be doing, Sagittarius, trust it. Trust it, because this is a big aspect that's happening for you guys. Um, all of this energy is in your second house. So this is definitely having to do with self-worth and all of that. And if somebody's not adding to it, cut it off. That's the Pluto aspect. And of course, with the Venus, make sure that you show love, make sure you show care, make sure you show compassion. But if they're not reciprocating it to you, cut it off. All right. Thank you, Sagittarius. I'm sorry if that sounded a little negative, but sometimes we just have to be told what we need to be told. All right. So let's see who's next. Let's see who's next. Leo. Woo! We moving with the fire energy, huh? All right, Leo. So part of what I see for you, and it's kind of the same thing as the Sagittarian energy. You guys are going to be focusing in on that Sagittarian energy, but you guys are also going to be focusing in on Capricorn energy, and more so that Sagittarian energy. Ooh, excuse me. All right, let me get a little bit of water. All right, so we deal with. Okay, let me. Sorry, guys. I have to position my thing here for a second. Okay. Apparently everything wants to mess up on me, but whatever. Still working with this, still doing it. You know what I mean. Alright, so now that we got that fixed. Alright, so Leo. 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so for those of you Leos who have aspects in the later part of Leo, what you're going to be dealing with is a huge in conjunction. It's a 150-degree aspect between your planets in the later half of your sign and those in Capricorn. I believe that's why this Capricorn energy is showing up. Now, um, this deals with things on an everyday aspect. I do have a feeling that a lot of you guys are dealing with things on an everyday basis that deal with building. Maybe that's building confidence. Maybe that's building charisma. Maybe that's building up self confidence so that you can control your actions and your abilities, or maybe even just the ability to tap into that inner knowing a lot more. Because when we deal with Sagittarius, we deal about having faith and understanding the messages that come to us. So there should be an in conjunction for you guys in the sense that how you put yourself out and what you do on an everyday level might not vibe, if that makes any sense. It's like you try to do something, but it doesn't work. Like it just ends up like falling apart, and there's no way to like glue it together. So that's something that I feel you guys are going to be dealing with. And also, you guys have the energy in Pisces in your eighth house. So whatever it is that your dreams are that you haven't been able to reach, you should be having that energy from Mercury helping you out with that. So it'll help you find, whatever it is that you need to know. All right. So with the hawk in the reverse, this is kind of the same message that I seen for Sagittarius in the sense that it's almost like you guys are expecting uh, these inner knowing messages, these messages from your intuition, from source, whoever it is that you get your messages from. But I feel like they're blocked. I feel like you guys are back on the ground again, seeing the forest through the trees as opposed to viewing things from a higher perspective. And so let's all right. But that's exactly what we're dealing with, I believe. When we have the whale, it's about the whale's call. But what do we know about whales? We know that they can travel deep. We know that they can hold their breath quite a bit. So maybe being persistent is something that we could see with this Capricorn energy, regardless of whether you're receiving messages from the universe or not. It's necessary for you to dive deep within yourself, and even if it feels like you're gonna drown, you're not, because you go down with that whale energy, and you can actually you know do what you need to do with whatever it is that you need to dive deep for. And you know what? I am surprised that this damn dolphin is popping up like 20 bajillion times now. I think overall, we all just need a little bit of happiness, because with what's going on right now, we might feel like the universe is not watching us. It's not like cycles haven't ended yet. Like, things like, trying to do things over and over again instead of just trying to approach it with a new attitude, right? Like a noob. And that's the energy that I'm getting for you guys, Leo. I mean, I feel like you guys have been trying over and over and over again, but have been getting the same results. So now it's time for something different. It's time for something new. Yeah, follow something that works, but at the same time, don't be afraid to trudge into the new. And that's what I get for you guys. All right, so let's see what we can draw from these ones. Let's see what kind of emotional energy you guys are going to be dealing with. All right, so cool. Some of you Leos were saying one thing and doing another. This was something karmic that needed to happen to you, whatever it is that's happening. And I feel that because of this, you guys are going to be more real with yourselves. And of course, being more real with yourselves means that you're going to be more real with everybody else. So with the Glancomer, these things are karmic, but it's showing you that what you say is also going to be something that you do, and not the other way around, where you say one thing and you do another.
Babe,
Huh.
remember where the nail clipper was right here?
Yeah, it's right there. All right, yeah, because you guys are getting ready to approach the guardian at the gate, which is actually really cool. And of course, you got to approach it as yourself. I mean, I mean, I would like to, try to fabricate these messages and stuff like that, but it's. I mean, what spirit needs to say is what spirit needs to say. You guys are beginning a new journey, and um, it's not going to be a new journey. It's actually going to be the same journey that maybe you've tried to do before if you guys are not real with yourselves. I believe that what's happening here with the Glancomer is that it's almost like you guys are not lying to yourself, but you guys aren't telling yourselves the truth either. And so before you can actually start off a new journey, you got to get your emotions in check. And at the same time, you got to you got to like dig deep within yourself. This is to learn how to read the messages of the universe. The universe responds in frequencies. It doesn't respond in words or anything like that. So I feel like this is teaching you guys how to understand the process of the universe, while at the same time paying attention to the overall message or lesson that you have to learn, while at the same time paying attention to those tiny details, those tiny messages that come through. And yeah, that's all I get for you on that front. So let's draw some other cards and we'll see. We'll clarify to see what's going on for you. The Emperor. Oh, the Emperor in the reverse. I feel that for one reason or another, you guys are already in tune with that. With the saying one thing and doing another thing, and I feel that you guys have felt like reaching this gate, getting ready to pop through, has been like a fight, like a I don't know, like there was a lot of action going on there, and I feel like maybe you thought that it was uh, it felt like a competition, just trying to get to that gate, right? But I think overall, what was keeping you guys from hearing these messages is, well, one, being impatient, two, not properly planning things, because the Emperor in the upright is someone who plans properly, and somebody who is the Emperor in the reverse is somebody who moves just like that. It doesn't really like think about it. This is Aries type energy, guys. This is Aries type energy. So if you guys have been irritable, impatient, things like that, and especially with not hearing these messages from the universe, but knowing you're like right at the gate and you need to hear something before you pass through, that's what I get from this energy. Part of it has to do with going into hermit mode for you Leos. Others, I think it's dealing with a soulmate relationship. Dealing with the relationship that has been draining you of your compassion, of your empathy, right? And I feel like it's something that needs to be put to death. I mean, it's just plain and simple when it's right there at the top. Honestly, though, I don't think that you guys view it as like something that's a surprise or anything like that. I feel like you guys have been wanting to connect with people on a more intellectual level, more logical level, and what's happening is that for the people that are not on board with that, cut, right? That's what that death is talking about. It's not saying cut everybody out of your life. It's saying look at the ones who have value in your life and who add value to it and who you can add value to theirs. And if there's no uh, if there's no organization and structure in how you go about, increasing your value or increasing their value, then it has to be cut. Because what's happening is that it's making you act like this, and that's not making you act how you need to, which is with care, with compassion, being your true self. What it does is it makes you impatient. But I believe that as you guys understand, these concepts of, connecting with people on an intellectual level, knowing who's good for you and who isn't, that will, in some way, shape, or form, allow you to create whatever it is that you want to create. It puts you into a mode of power. And when that motive power takes place, you're able to move forward with confidence. So a lot of this is moving forward with confidence by trusting in yourself, and at the same time listening, slowing yourself down so you can take all of this information and assimilate it. And once you're real with yourself and you're real with everybody else, you'll be ready for that gate. So let's see what kind of energy you're moving into. Pisces. So you're moving into that Piscean energy. Well, they're talking about the eighth house, right? The Neptune and Mercury influences in Pisces right now. Whatever it is that you guys have been like dreaming about, your goals, your aspirations, any addictions that you guys might be facing right now, that's probably what that death is about too. I feel like there's something, a person, place, or thing that you guys are stuck to, that you guys cannot escape from, that's not allowing you to be real. Maybe it's a superficial relationship, and it's causing you to be the emperor in the reverse. But I think you understand this enough to the point that you don't want to fight. I mean, you'll fight if you have to, but you don't. I don't feel like you want to fight all the way to the gate, right? And that's something that I'm picking up here. But with Pisces and that Piper energy, it's about understanding where these messages come from for you, and at the same time understanding that these are going to affect your relationships, right? Because we're dealing with that Libra energy right on the opposite side of it, and then at the same time you're dealing with the Aquarius energy, and you're dealing with that Capricorn energy. So I had the feeling that when we think about our relationships, and we think about how we build them, and we think about how we got to them in the first place, right? Because we have to be social and we have to get out there and or actually know somebody in order for us to be connected to them. We have to make that first step to get out there or to like let it be known, right? So for you, Leo, I very much feel that this is going to open you up to the energy of the universe. This is actually going to allow you to be able to draw into this space of energy, the Piscean energy, right? That deep knowing, and allow you to hear these messages that you need to hear with that hawk energy. Anytime I see any cards in the reverse, yeah, they might have a negative connotation to it, but it shows that the energy is ready to flip, or that the energy is going to flip in the future, right? Because I mean, you have to have something upright before it flips upside down, and you have to have something upside down before it can actually be flipped upright. So it's like recognizing you have something, losing that something in order to learn the lesson behind it, and then you become that powerful, looking at things from a higher perspective sign. So there's that. Um, let's roll these die to see what we're dealing with. Martian energy, right? So we're dealing with this Emperor energy and flipping it up into the upright, and we're also dealing with the Moon, right? So the Moon in Taurus, and how this affects your sign. 10, 9, let's see, 12, 11. So this is dealing with how you guys make money and how you guys move forward with trying to make money. We got the Moon in conjunction with Uranus tonight, so really, really focus in on your guys' thoughts, because this is something that's going to reveal how you can make money and how you can move forward with it. For those of you guys who are wanting a career spread reading or anything like that, let me know, because I can go ahead and give that to you guys. And we're dealing with changes. We're dealing with the number 5. Yep, we're dealing with changes, and we're dealing with 5 because you got that 5 of wands. So this is definitely dealing with changes, and these changes are good. These changes are meant to make you a real person and to make you a more stable and more, well, more like the emperor in a way. I mean, I don't know what else to say, but understanding that the universe has your back, and understanding that certain things need to be put to death. I believe some of you guys may not walk away from it yet, but some of you will. For those of you who won't, you guys are going to understand that your intuition is going to be yelling at you. So thank you, Leo. Now time to move on to the next sign. All right. Let's see, who do we have next? We already did Leo. Scorpio. All right, cool. Cool. Scorpio. Uh, hmm. Hmm. All right, so for Scorpio, you guys are going to be dealing a lot with relationships, but these can not just be personal relationships, but these are, in fact, also dealing with your social relationships. Now, with Scorpio, you guys, I mean, you guys normally dig deep. You guys do your research and everything, but when it comes to relationships, sometimes you just can't do all that research. So, um, and a lot of the times, Scorpios like to be indoors. They like to do whatever it is that they do, and they like to be by themselves. But I think this is a time where you are going to be thrust out into society. That is to say that you guys are going to be going into society, but I think you guys are going to take on a more cautious type of energy, that Saturn type of energy. And at the same time, this is going to allow you guys to move through these relationships in a way that allows you to be comfortable with them and to allow you to understand how these relationships work and why they are working in your life. So, if you have any relationships in the next couple of days, Scorpio, that is what you will be dealing with. Um, so, you guys have a lot of planets in the third house. This is all about communication. Communicating with certain people who are going to be cut off, certain people who you can expand with, um, and also those relationships that you want to put energy into, and that's dealing with the Mercury aspect. I mean, excuse me, the Martian aspect in Capricorn. But you also have planets in your fifth house, such as Mercury and Neptune. And what Mercury and Neptune together in Pisces signify in terms of your fifth house, Scorpio, is that when it comes to what brings you pleasure, what brings you enjoyment, what brings you happiness, that kind of thing. You guys are going to be focusing a lot on that here within these next like 20 days or so. And you guys are going to really be looking at what your dream is and like how you can reach it. All right. And yes, it's definitely time for you to it's definitely time for you to poke your head out of the water, with the crocodile in the reverse. It's definitely time to poke your head out of the water. Now, a lot of you, I feel, uh, need to start meditating. You know, whether it's mantras, whether it's just sitting there and like thinking of thoughts and letting them pass through. There's a certain cycle that I believe is looking to end itself, and I think for the most part, a lot of you Scorpios are ready for it. But it's almost like y'all want to stay in the deep. Y'all want to stay underwater. Y'all don't want anybody to know what's going on. But I think in one way, shape, or form, the dragonfly in the reverse is showing us that you might not know everything, but I mean, like I said, cards in the reverse, they give you the ability to do something. So pretty much, this whole thing is all about trusting your intuition, actually expanding upon your intuition, and recognizing not just the patterns that other people have, but your own unconscious patterns. And so, with this energy of the zebra, it's also talking about like creativity and creativeness. And I feel that a lot of you guys are brimming with that creative energy. It's just, I mean, personally, I feel like you guys want to know the past, the present, and the future, right? before you guys can jump and dive into anything like that. So with the snake, uh, yoga poses are actually really good for tapping into that energy. And these yoga poses will actually, tap you into the energy of the energy matrix of the universe. And that would actually help you to become fearless and to go out into society like you need to. All right, so let's now move into the fairy oracles. And let's see what else swords have for you, Scorpio. All right, the Dark Lady in the reverse. I feel like you guys have been tapping in more into your dark side, or you guys have been hiding in the shadows, so to speak. With the 20, there's usually a decision that's to be made, right? And I feel like it's the decision whether to like actually get out there and show your skills and talents, or if it's just to like stay in the dark. I feel like you guys are more in tune with just staying in the dark and being comfortable there, as opposed to being exposed to anything and then having to like give a response, I guess you could say. But I feel if you can ground yourself, you can actually get through that dark lady energy, and it allows you to be able to flip it over and to understand how to use your intuition and how to use your negative and your positive sides for the proper use. All right, the singer of healing, yes, because what's happening is that you guys have been doing a lot of searching. You guys have been doing a lot of inner work. And what's happening is that you guys are now reaching that stage where you go from thinking about it to actually reaching healing and then moving forward with your lives. And so the singer of healing here is letting me know that half of what is necessary in order for you to clear out, any insecurities or anything that like causes you to lash out at other people, and to actually bring healing to yourself. Because once you actually have that healing, then what happens is you reach a positive state, or a neutral state, where the energy is neither negative or positive, and you can turn it into whatever you need. I feel like, yes, a lot of what's been a lot of what's been going on with Scorpio is fears that have no basis. Like, I feel like you guys are fearing what people will think, right? You're fearing what people will say. You're fearing what people will do if you put yourself out and you put things out. But like, he has his arms crossed right there, like he's holding himself back. And I feel that you, Scorpio, are definitely holding yourself back. And I feel like you guys have thought about it, but for whatever reason, there's just something that you guys can't like leave. You can't turn your back on it. Your intuition can be telling you, your intuition can be yelling at you, but I feel like for whatever reason, you guys can't turn your back on it. However, that's not to say that you won't, because this energy can be flipped up like this, and you can walk away from those emotions that are keeping you from your healing. So, and because once you do that, you actually have happiness. And once you actually have that happiness, things start to move quick. It's just that simple. Once you actually reach that stage of healing, then things start to move. And whatever happens from there happens, based on how you approach those situations. So, for those of you guys who just joined in, I am doing the reading for Scorpio. So far, what the messages that are coming through is the necessary need to meditate, and the necessary need to go through one's dark side as well as their light side, and come to terms with whoever it is that they are. And once you actually, do that, Scorpio, you'll reach that healing. Actually, once you reach that healing, you'll be able to see the past, present, and the future. Actually, this is what you've been looking for. Try and tap into your intuition. Elevating your vibrations. Try and dipping your head out of the water. Well, actually, more than just dipping your head out of the water. You got to come out completely. It's all good to be in there and to understand the energy that you're working with. But if you're stuck in the universal consciousness, you're not going to learn anything, and neither is consciousness. So you got to keep that in mind, Scorpio. All right. Honestly, I think you guys are having a competition with yourselves. With the Five of Wands coming, man, what is this? What are you guys going through? All right. I feel like you guys are having a competition with yourself. More in line, having a competition with your dark side, or like coming to terms with your dark side. But I feel that if you can understand that it's not a competition, that it's actually, you know, like diving into a pool as opposed to trying to fucking uh trying to like win a swimming marathon, right? Then you'll finally realize what it is that's been holding you back, and from there, well, you can be more true to yourself. Well, I just seen one, so 5 1s. I don't know if you guys have been seeing that. And all right, the Queen of Swords popped out. Intuitively, you know what you need to do in order to reach healing. But like I said, this is actually a personal journey that you're on, and this is a personal journey that's going to help you in reaching this state of um, emotional stability. Because I think in one way, shape, or form, being allowed to like understand these messages from the universe, but at the same time not having the fearlessness in order to move forward with those messages, it can make any situation imbalanced. Doesn't matter whether you're a Libra, um, whether you're a Leo, doesn't matter whether you're a Capricorn or anything. Like if you cannot bring yourself into emotional balance as well as logical balance, then you're always going to get uh, imbalances. And so I feel like some of you Scorpios are dealing with Libras, um, just by the fact that the Libra card came out in the reverse. So I feel that in some way, shape, or form, your intuition is telling you, quite a few things, but there's just a lack of strength, is what I'm seeing. And when we deal with the lack of strength, it's not that we don't have it, it's just that we're not putting it to use. We all have strength inside us. We all have strengths, we all have weaknesses, we all have worries, doubts, fears, etc. It's how we let them run us that really matter. And so, let me see. All right. So with Scorpio, yeah, this is definitely going to deal with uh, a lot of these different things that kind of annoy you on a daily basis, I guess you could say. And at the same time, six, yeah, these are things that bother you on an everyday level, and they might actually have to do with relationships as well. So I could see how self-worth, and I could see how understanding your own worth can actually help you out. For those of you guys that have well, of course, Scorpios, you got Sun in Scorpio. For those of you who have the opposition between Uranus and your Sun or any other planet, it can be difficult to find yourself. I mean, it could be difficult to put yourself out in a proper manner too. But I think what Uranus is doing is helping you to reach your center, and at the same time, that Venus influence is helping you to see the beauty in yourself, which is actually really good because that's what we need to do. And I believe that a lot of you Scorpios are going to vibe with that once you see this video, because when we think about this type of energy that that Scorpios are dealing with, you're going to have a lot of those times where you might not, I guess, tell yourself that you have inner beauty, but you do. And right now, with Venus going through Taurus and Uranus going through Taurus, this is helping you to see just how powerful you are, and actually just, well, I mean, how much better you can move forward with various different things when you reach your center. So that's all I'm getting from here. Proper planning is a necessary aspect, and actually, proper planning is necessary before you go in deep. Because if you're not ready for it, you need to know the steps to get yourself out, or it could turn out to be something a little too much for yourself. But these things are some of these things that are happening, and especially for for you to build strength, fearlessness, right? That's that's one of the key factors here, and also coming to terms with your dark side, your taboo side, right? All right, so moving forward, you're going to be dealing with that Sagittarian energy. You're going to be dealing uh, with Leo type energy, and you're going to be dealing with Mercury type. Yeah, with Mercury type energy with that Virgo influence right there. I feel it's going to be more towards Virgo type energy details and analyzation. Seeing all of the different parts, right? Being that logical Queen of Swords energy, and at the same time, it's going to be dealing with how you put yourself out and how much confidence do you have, how much courage, do you have? Hmm? How much courage? That's the main question. Be true to yourself. Understand who you are and why you are. And when you reach healing, you'll reach that logical sense. You'll reach that logical state, and you'll have strength. If the Queen of Swords is anything, she's a strong bitch. she she's a powerful one. All right, so let's see what else we are dealing with for Scorpio moving forward. All right, Uranus. Yes, so this is definitely about that Uranus influence. But as you guys can see here, there's the Pluto aspect, and then there's also that Jupiter aspect. So moving on with communication, there are some things that you're going to have to cut, obviously, and at the same time, these are things uh, that are necessary for your growth and your expansion. Some of you guys might be scared to do what's necessary, but at the same time, you know that it's necessary, and at the same time, you're fighting it. So let's see. All right, so we're dealing with changes, but we're dealing with changes that are going to help you move forward, and at the same time, we're going to bring stability to your life. So these are key. These are necessary, and it's necessary to build that strength, build that fearlessness, Scorpio. If you take anything away from this, build that. All right, and it'll actually help you out in your finances too. So with that, thank you, Scorpio. I don't know how long I spent with you on that one, but you guys got the message that you needed to hear. So let's move on to the next sign. Let's see. Ooh, Gemini. All right, Gemini. You guys are going to be dealing a lot with the people, um, more specifically the crowds, right? And also with community, obviously. So you guys might actually have something to do with the with what's happening on the community-wide level. But at the same time, you guys are going to be focusing a lot on spiritual aspects, or just understanding how time flows, how things work, understanding, how intuitive messages come to you and stuff like that. And at the same time, just, not really getting more spiritual per se, but I would say like more in tune with your intuition. So let's see what happens here. Let's see what we draw, and then we'll go ahead and see what kind of energy we'll be moving into right after. So let's see. What do we have for Gemini universe? And what do, oh, too much. And let's see what they have to deal with and what they have to work with. All right. So, Gemini. I know you guys are least likely to prevent changes or transformations when they need to happen. You guys are some of the more flexible signs, along with the rest of the air signs and the fire signs. Now, Gemini, uh, you guys are a flexible sign. You guys aren't a cardinal sign, so uh, it shouldn't be that hard for you guys to transform and to change. But with this, I feel like you guys are keeping yourself from a certain transformation that needs to take place. Maybe it's not time yet. I don't know. But uh, for whatever it's worth, I feel like all this floundering around that you guys did within yourselves, or just going within yourselves and like seeing all your possible options that you could grab at. I think what happened is that you guys finally found whatever it was that you were looking for, right? And at the same time, you've used this energy to help you build a spine, to help you build courage, to help you build charisma, and all of that. But there's still a little bit of a something that's not allowing you to see what it is, everything that's there. It could be that Neptune influence, but I believe that with Gemini, you know, maybe some of you guys are having trouble in transforming what it is that you're doing. With the planets of Uranus and Taurus in your 10th house, Uranus and Venus in Taurus in. Wait. Okay. Gemini, you guys have Venus and Taurus, Venus and Uranus in Taurus in your 12th house. So a lot of you guys might be having the like not feeling worthy. And if you don't feel worthy, you're not going to go through a transformation. And neither are you going to be in tune with your intuition, which is exactly what this is saying. Now, part of what I see here is being more focused, because when you think about an octopus doing this, they're not really that focused, right? They're just reaching out for things. So I feel like you need to become a little bit more focused. Don't worry about how things are not going your way right now. Don't worry about whether you actually have value, um, whether you actually have value or not, because within the 12th house, there's a lot of times where we feel we don't have that thing, like we're locked away from it, like it's right on the other side of the bars. So it's there regardless of whether you feel it is or isn't, but it's there. All you got to do is just look into it. Also, one thing I noticed too is that you might have a lot of different people who might say different things, and these things might keep you from, knowing who you are. Maybe you have a lot of different people who are saying certain things about you, whether they're true or not, really doesn't matter. But I think you're taking them to heart, and what's happening is that during the last couple days when Aries was the main focus for the moon, I feel like there was a lot of things that made you impatient, made you irritable, and this is dealing with the crowds. But it's not surprising because you guys are meant to be on a more spiritual path, and I feel like some of you guys are on a more like superficial path. Like you guys are focusing more on like the material items, the looks, and all that instead of digging deep. And that's what's keeping you guys from this transformation here. But this is to let you know that you guys are at that point. So if this was a necessary confirmation reading that you needed, I think by now you pretty much found out what you needed to know. But for the rest of the Geminis that don't yet know, we're gonna draw some cards and figure it out. All right, let's see. What do you need in order to get your emotional faculties? Oh, you cannot make this up, guys. That five and that five right there that you see. I don't know if you guys can see it. Okay, that five that you guys see right there. That comes out to 10. Now 10 is completion. 10 is the number of happiness. And what happens is that when things complete themselves, we become happy with ourselves. However, what's keeping you from your transformation is these things. Also, keeping you from your transformation is that these things you tell yourself. Like I feel that you have people tell you things, and then you tell yourself those things, And do keep in mind that negative energy and negative thoughts have a 4 to 7%, no, 4 to 7 times stronger in affecting you as opposed to positive thoughts. But that is to say that these negative thoughts are keeping you from your transformation. And coming from experience, as a Capricorn, I tell myself a lot of different things. I have, however, changed mindset to try not to tell myself these things, to not focus on these things at all, to understand that these are just negative thoughts that I'm giving to myself. And that's exactly what we run into when we run into the soul shrinker in the reverse. Is the things we tell ourselves. But the things we tell ourselves, right? They can be positive, they can be transformational. And that's exactly what's happening here for you, Gemini. I feel like you've told yourself so many different things, negative things, that don't really help you out. They don't help you manifest. Because with the Master Maker, this is the equivalent of the Magician in the Rider Waite Tarot. This card comes out to number 2. So he's the Master Builder. And with this card in the reverse, I mean, this is very, very simple. Stop telling yourself these negative things that you tell yourself that other people have told you, and think for yourself. Because the moment you start to be aware of what it is that you put out, you actually have the ability to manifest from that point. So as soon as you start telling yourself, positive things as opposed to negative things, this master maker energy is actually going to turn itself into the upright for you. Um, a lot of what needs to take place right now for you, and I feel like maybe there's a lot of different things that are being flipped on their heads. Certain things that maybe you wanted to do just kind of flip themselves over and don't present the opportunity to have them. Stay calm with it, but at the same time, this is an energy that you're being that's happening for you, because there's a certain lesson to learn in how to bring that back into balance. It has to do with discernment, with acute intellect, and I'm very sure that you guys have the intellect in order to understand this, because you guys are earth signs. You guys are earth signs, but I feel like your intuition has been talking to you, but you haven't really been listening too much, and a lot of it has to do with the things you tell yourself. So the things you tell yourself should actually be positive things, because if they're not, then you end up with the energy of not being able to manifest. But you guys, regardless of whether you've come to that conclusion or not, there is a new beginning right around the corner for you guys. That's usually something that's indicative when there's a change that's right about to happen. And so you guys are being given this energy to understand how to shift through it, how to evolve, how to go to a higher vibrational frequency. And that first begins with you and what you tell yourself. All right, let's see what the universe has for you, Gemini, and then we will go into your future energies as well as the next sign. All right. Wow, the 5 of Wands again. Yes, just like the last time that I did. I feel like you guys are having a fight with yourselves. Like it. I mean, just you guys are having a fight with yourselves. Actually, you're having a fight with whatever it is that you're telling yourself. Because I feel that to a certain extent, you know that you shouldn't be telling yourself this, but you are. It's like an unconscious program that just keeps repeating itself. So let's see what we can do in order to help you break this. Because I mean, this is definitely one of those influences that we want to break in order for you guys to reach your transformation. I feel like you guys are going to reach your transformation here soon enough, though. Once that moon goes into your sign. Yeah, look at this. You can't fucking make this shit up. A new journey, a new beginning, taking a leap of faith, not a leap of doubt. I feel like you guys have been stuck in thinking that you're not going to make anything because you keep telling yourself that you're not, which is a self-fulfilling prophecy if you think about it, because you're not going to make it if you tell yourself you're not going to make it, right? Think about all the things you've had in your life and how you got them. You're focused, your thoughts and your emotion both melded into one in order for you to do what you needed to do in order to make it happen, right? So, like I said, you guys have a new journey that's right around the corner for you guys, and I'm happy for you guys. Wow, you cannot make this shit up. And you know what? I usually like pulling them out, but I want to show you guys these cards because look at this. You guys have a new cycle that's about to, well, the cycle that's about to end and a new one that's about to begin. At the same time, this is going to cause you guys to move forward, right? This is something that's allowing you guys to move forward uh, with with knowing. I mean, planning it and making everything work and stuff like that. You have to think about it. At the same time, I feel that a lot of you guys have been focusing more on the things that you shouldn't be focusing on, and not really focusing on this cup that the universe is trying to bring to you. But I think in this way, you guys are going to be um, exposed to that energy, and it's going to help bring a certain balance. It's almost like you guys are going to be the alchemists of your own life. It just requires you guys to get rid of those negative thoughts that you tell yourself. Anytime you feel trapped, especially with the Venus and Uranus aspect in your 12th house, you guys are going to be feeling that strongly. But new beginnings around the corner, guys. You know, change your thoughts. Tell yourself that you can do. Tell yourself that you are able to do them instead of telling yourself that you can't because somebody else told you you can't. If that makes any sense. Providing inspiration for all the signs. All right, so Gemini, you guys are going to be moving with a type of like Martian energy that I think some of the world has partly seen, but part of this has to do with the details that you guys are going to be happening upon with that Virgo energy that's right underneath it. That's going to be the main point is figuring out these details that you tell yourself, while at the same time building that courage up. And also, I feel that with that Cancer energy, you need to have a little bit of self care for yourself because that soul shrinker in the reverse that's a very heavy energy. So let's see what else you're going to be dealing with. The moon. All right, so this is actually really good, and this tells me that with the moon energy, I feel like you guys are going to come to this knowing once the moon heads into Gemini here within the next couple days. Also, this is dealing with South Node energy. Maybe you guys have always been telling yourself, you know, that you're worth nothing, or that you don't have the skills to do it, or you don't have the time to do it, that your life is too busy. Well, I think you know more or less. I think you know more or less what it is that you have to do and why you have to do it. Personally, this is for your own personal development with that Uranus influence right there. And this is going to happen over time as Saturn starts to trine your planets in in Aquarius. So thank you. Um, Thank you, Gemini. We move on to the next sign now. And I should be hurrying up with this, but all right. Already to Scorpio. Libra. All right. Libras. All right. So seeing what I'm seeing here with the die, you guys are going to be focusing a lot more on the spiritual aspects and how the spiritual aspects bring some type of value to your life or how they bring value to the lives of others. Also, any conversations that you guys might have with anybody else that for one reason or another tend to like gravitate towards spiritual things, you know, don't be surprised with that. Also, a lot of the energy that you're dealing with right now has to do with the Capricorn energy. So, could be that some of you are dealing with Capricorn. Some of you might be dealing with the Pisces, or might be dealing with Aquarius. But overall, the energy of Pisces being the main theme kind of shows me that there's going to be a necessary need for you to organize whatever these spiritual ideas you have in mind, uh, wherever you have them in mind, and how you're going to disseminate this to the people, how you're going to communicate with your network, right? And so I feel that a lot of people are going to be viewing you more as like spiritual person based on the things that you've said, based on the things that you do, and the kind of values that you follow. When we deal with the moon and Taurus, we deal with values and stuff like that. So people are going to be looking at your values a lot more within these next couple days, as opposed to um, well, this last month. So with that, I want to go ahead and go into your energy to see what we're dealing with. Moving into the emotional energy and how we can fix that aspect or keep it going if it's something positive, and then we can clarify those cards with the rhetoric. All right, so universe, let's see what we have for Libra. Let's see what we have for Libra. Ah, healing.
Okay.
Oh, they're individual. All right, so Libra, you guys got the frog. Now, the frog is the card of healing. It's much like the singer of healing in the fairy oracle deck. But when you think about this card, well, when I think about this card, I know it reminds me of that Pitbull song. Well, how does it go? Let it rain on me or something like that. I can't remember the exact words, but
Pickle.
Pitbull,
Pimple.
Pitbull,
Oh.
like red nose.
Oh.
And so like that, whenever I hear that song, like in my head, I imagine healing, right? Like that's basically what people are looking for when they sit under rain. Also, um, the rain is something that sticks out at me. I feel like some of you guys may have been feeling like the universe has just been raining on you. Kind of like, almost, I feel almost like you guys are receiving healing in certain aspects of your life, but it's almost like you're waiting for that sunrise to kind of like warm you up. And the what sticks out is that yellow color on that triangle, downward triangle, which is the alchemical symbol for water. So most people don't think of rain as healing, but if things are dirty and stuff like that, rain washes it off. So any impurities that you might have, or any impurities that may have accrued based on past actions, I feel that you guys are going to be reaching a sense of healing through this moon in Taurus by understanding your value and the value that others have towards you. Now, one thing that I've noticed is that you guys have the butterfly in the reverse. Now, this is saying that a transition or a type of transformation is looking to take place, and just because it's not taking place right now doesn't mean that it won't. But anytime you get cards in the reverse like this, it always means that that energy is right about to take place. Part of it, I feel, is the necessary need for grounding, but I feel like a lot of it has to do with moving through life with elegance. I mean, if there's anybody that shows elegance among all the signs, it would be Libra. And so, when you deal with the deer, you deal with compassion, you deal with hypervigilance. So I feel like maybe some of you Libras have been feeling uh, hypervigilant. Like maybe some of you perceive like a threat somewhere. Maybe some of you guys don't perceive anything as a threat, but it's got your attention. Like it's got your vision is in that direction. And at the same time, I kind of feel like this is somewhat of a warning in a way that like if something surprising comes up, don't don't take it like a deer in the headlights where you just freeze, right? And their eyes are just like that. I feel like this is a necessary need to trust into those intuitive thoughts that you may have, those intuitive messages that come in. That is signified by the bear and by the sun right here at the top. I feel like some of you guys, uh, like, well, when we think about the bear and we think about hibernation, I feel like a lot of you guys have been hibernating. and you guys are waking up and moving into your energy and moving into trusting these intuitive messages that come in. But at the same time, I feel like for a lot of you, it's been somewhat of a slow start. And it's like you kind of gotta like stretch and do this and that before you're like, all right, let's do this, right? And so part of that stretching, I believe, has to do with this healing. And once you actually can tap into that healing energy, I think you guys will be ready in order to take off. I mean, a lot of what's been going on right now has been there to allow you guys to build, um, well, not necessarily a spine, but to activate your chakras. And this is activating your chakras by emotional turmoil. So I feel that some of you guys might be dealing with emotional turmoil, but for the most part, I feel that you guys are grounded enough in order to be able to move through this sense of healing, and at the same time, become that industrious beaver that I know you guys could be, and I know that you guys want to be. Um, if there's anything that Libra will work for, is well, money and food. I mean, I think that's everybody, but I think Libras kind of have that connotation a lot more, along with Taurus. I'm not just gonna pull Libras out and like throw them under the bus with that one. Taurus are like that too. All right, so yeah, all right. So now I realize that a lot of you guys have kind of been ignoring the fact that all these things happening for you are a blessing in disguise. But I do realize that some of you guys, since this card is in the reverse, actually do realize that the things happening in your life are for your own good, and they're blessings in disguise that maybe we might not see them right now, but they're working to bring healing into our lives. And this is something that's going to bring stability into your life too. Yeah, because on the emotional front, I feel like there's been a lack of balance. Kind of like you guys are one way, the other, maybe feeling this way, maybe feeling that way, and it tends to bring instability. Both of these four cards are upside down, and this is kind of letting me know that 4 or 44, if you guys have been seeing that, is the necessary need for you guys to call upon the angels for healing, and at the same time, call upon the angels to know what to heal. Because a lot of the times we see, oh, we need to heal this, we need to heal that. We're told that we need to heal these things, but what do we really need to heal? Well, you tell that through intuition. I feel that a lot of you guys have been holding yourselves back. I feel like you guys have been thinking about it. There's a lot of intuitive energy and a lot of 11 energy behind that, the 1-1, right? And so I think you guys have a lot of beauty. You guys have a lot of skills, talents, and abilities that actually add beauty to the world. Not just like what you do, but how you do it. And I feel like you guys are kind of holding yourself back, because if you look at Tom, the poet, he's holding himself back. He's keeping to himself. He's kind of crouched and everything. Like this is showing somewhat of a lack of confidence. And so I feel that there's a necessary confidence boost that needs to take place because for one reason or another, some of you guys might not feel like you're touched by the pixies or you're touched by the universe. And with that kind of thinking, it just creates nothing. I mean, it doesn't create what your dreams are and all of that. But I do feel that in one way, shape, or form, you guys have understood that the power of the mind is something that can modulate the energy of your heart as well as the energy in your physical world. And that's in one way, shape, or form allowing you to overcome any thoughts of gloom and any thoughts where maybe you felt like nothing was going to work or anything like that. And I feel that you guys are finally understanding that. Okay, all of these cards right here, the Luminous Doom 5 and 6, that creates 11. Penelope Dreamweaver 2 plus 8, that creates 10. And then with the fairy who was kissed by the pixies, that comes out to 3. and then 11. So you have 11, 1, 3, and 11. Having the 1 and the 3 in there, it's about moving forward, but it's about communicating how you want to move forward. And really, I mean, if you're keeping to yourself, that's not possible. So I think overall, you guys already know on an intuitive level that it's your time to shine. It's pretty nice little message right there. I just think that a lot of Libras. Hmm, I think a lot of Libras know they have something to put out. It's not so much a matter of how to put it out, but it's like how much to value it at. Especially with the Tauran moon. Huh? No, no, I'm gonna warm it up here soon. No, I won't. It's that could be pretty tough, to set a price on something or to set a value on something when you don't recognize your own value. That's Hey, that's deep. It's like down to the soul. All right, so understanding that what's happening for you right now, Libra, is meant to bring you into balance, and also it's meant to allow you to understand how events work, to allow you to become the alchemist of your life, and to create, the life that you want. It all begins with this blessing in disguise and understanding why the things that are happening right now are happening. If you are to bring healing to yourself, Libra, you need to understand your own value. And the only way you can understand your own value is if you recognize that all of these things happening are meant for you to come to that conclusion. Once you actually come to that conclusion, you'll be working just like the beaver, and you guys are going to be working long and hard. But that's where.
That's what she said.
Yeah, I mean that's actually like a nice little reading. Yeah, what's causing instability is the lack of a tower falling. But I don't think so much the tower falling as much as it is the strike of an epiphany. I did tell you guys last time, in terms of Libra, that you guys were going to be expecting some type of message to come through, some type of something, something that's going to allow you to bring balance into your life. And it could very well be that within these next couple days that you guys receive this epiphany, which allows you to focus on being more intellectual, right? Because a lot of you guys seem to be drawing this Queen of Swords, and also allowing you to see the bright side of things. You know, overall, though, I do believe that there is some type of conclusion to something that's happening right now, and a new cycle that wants to take place. And for some of you, I feel like that cycle is going to take place. For others of you, I feel like you guys will realize this victory, but you guys won't really realize the shift until later. So there are things that you guys are going to have to fight for. That much is obvious when you have the Seven of Wands and the Five of Swords. Both of these cards are well, one shows a struggle, the other one shows victory. So part of this it's showing us that for Libra, if you can reach this healing and you can put yourself out in a manner that you understand that all of this is to show you your value and to bring balance, then what happens is you activate all your chakras. And once you activate all your chakras, you reach healing. And then once you reach healing, you reach success. But the success, I don't think it's going to be anything that has to do with other people. I feel like the success is going to be reached on your own because you got the energy to get it going, to keep it going, and to be adventurous. And not only that, but to also see the small details and things, right? But I think you guys have been like planning a lot. You guys have been thinking, and it's time to move. It's time to move forward with your plans. You might seem restless, but you know, take that energy and use it for your advantage. All right, so nice. So you, just like the previous sign, Libra, are going to be focusing in on that Aries energy. At the same time, you guys are going to be focusing on these details that need to be taken care of in order to understand the blessing in it and reach that healing. And when we deal with that Aries energy, at the same time, we're dealing with that Leo energy, putting yourself out there, allowing yourself to shine, and just being courageous and doing it. And at the same time, there's a necessary need for self care, though. I think for the most part, you Libras understand that, yeah, there's a necessary need to put yourself out for the people and for the crowds. But overall, I think you guys understand that there is going to be that need for self care, too. So that's very good. Let's see what energy you're going to be moved by. Look at that. You guys got the North Node. And you guys got Mercury, Mars, and the Sun. So in terms of your in terms of your North Node and where your soul is pulling you, I think overall with that Mercury influence, you guys have been thinking about this for a while. And with that Sun influence, it's like you're trying to figure out, okay, this is my true goal, right? Or this is my true path. How do I express it? Well, how do I put energy into it, right? How do I express it, and how do I put that energy into it? A lot of what's going on with not just this healing, but also with moving forward with it, it has to do with that Mercury influence and understanding when to apply the energy and to build it and when to express it, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and look at the chart once more. All right, Libra, 2, 3, 4. All right, so a lot of these things are happening within the home sector for you, but this healing, I believe this healing is going to come from your home sector, as well as how you take all of this and the information that you gather from your network. And I also feel that these dreams that you're working towards on an everyday level, yeah, there might be times where you might feel like you're kind of lost, but at the same time, it's not um, it's not totally out of reach. This is something you're going to be working towards on an everyday level. Yes, there might be times where certain, I want to say certain things in various different relationships might crop up, some hurts, some past hurts and stuff like that. However, I understand that this energy here is to allow you to see what your worth is and how exactly you can come to that conclusion. Once you actually come to that conclusion of your worth, Libra, you'll actually be able to add worth to whatever it is that you have, and you would know that that thing is worth that thing because of all this work you've been doing. So going down to the numbers, let's see. 12. Yes, we're dealing with that that Jupiter influence, the Jupiter in Capricorn. We're dealing with building, we're dealing with Jupiter conjunct Mars. Like this is the energy of moving forward, not just with our communication, but like what we do on the physical level. And at the same time, it's asking you to trust your intuition because this is what's going to help you bring balance and stability into your life. So I hope you can take this information, Libra, and make it work for you because I very much know that you're close to healing, and at the same time, that you guys are going to be entering into a situation where you guys are going to be doing a lot of work and it's going to have a lot of big results. So, um, and you guys are gonna have fun with that. You guys are gonna like have. You guys are gonna understand the pleasure and why it's there. So, whew, that was a long one, Libra. That was a very long one. All right, now we move on to the next sign. All right, let's see who we doing. Aries. I didn't do you. All right, Aries. Hmm. Hmm. So the two signs that I'm seeing here is Virgo and Cancer, and kind of on the bottom, Scorpio. So I feel like research really isn't that much of a thing going on in your life right now, Aries. I feel like you've been doing the research, and I feel like a lot of you guys have been um, focusing more in like towards yourself and self care, which is actually something that needs to be done, especially with uh, the Cancer energy squaring any of your planets in Aries, as well as the square that's going on right now between the North Node and any planets you might have that are being transited by the Sun as well as Chiron. Now, mm, that's very tough. There's when you have a square, there's this tension. Now, this tension, since it has to do with Chiron, is tension that like opens up wounds. Could be childhood wounds. These could be other different types of wounds that you've had in your life, and these are the things that make you irritable. These are the thing, and people are gonna know it because it's very hard to kind of keep that to yourself. Now, a lot of this might have to do with fourth house stuff. Dealing with the home factor, or just nurturing and caring in general. And this, I mean, with Uranus and Venus in Taurus in your second house, this is definitely hinging upon how how valuable do you view yourself. I mean, you like Gemini, you have this calling to understand how powerful you are. You want to know what kind of energy you have, Aries? You have the Emperor energy, and the Emperor energy is like the top. We're talking about the dude that runs everything from the top down. Like that's the energy that we're dealing with when we deal with the Aryan type of energy. And I feel like you guys are out of your element, which is a good thing. You might view it as a bad thing, but Chiron always, always brings us information if we pay attention to his voice. And at the same time, with all this tension going on between the North Node and any planets you have at the beginning of your sign, you're gonna be like pushed. You're being pushed to do what you need to do, Aries. And wow, you guys are being pushed rather hard. All right, let's see what we move into in terms of your energy, Aries. Ooh, look at that. Oh, lordy, lordy, lord, you guys are not focusing. All right, with the otter energy, it's playful. It's calming. It's cool. I mean, there could be some envy involved in this. So if there's anybody who's envious of somebody or something right now, and you resonate with that, check that. For others of you, I feel like you guys are having trouble like focusing, and at the same time, I have a. You know what? I'm just gonna draw another card for you guys because I want to see what other energy is affecting you. There's definitely a lack of focus here, and we gonna get to the bottom of this. We gonna get to the. All right, I understand it now. All right, so you guys are unfocused, and you guys are unfocused because I feel like you guys got like complimented on something. You guys jumped on top of that high horse. You guys did something that allowed you to move forward, that allowed you to open up your chakras and everything, right? And then you guys just straight ran with it. But in doing what it is that you're doing and the struggle, you guys lost your focus. And the reason you guys lost that focus is because, you know, I feel like you guys were like, oh yeah, I know about this, I know what's going on here, and then you didn't take that lamb-like energy where you allow the universe to show you what's going on, and whatever was working before is not working now, and it's causing instability on the physical front and the emotional front. Now, regardless of how much you guys understand these situations, sometimes it's necessary to approach it with a lamb-like energy. Honestly, though, I feel like you guys have been having these ideas flittering around, and maybe there is something that, like, you know, that needs to be said. Maybe you're holding on to something, but I think that regardless of whether you hold on to it or not, you guys are looking at stability. You guys are looking at either trotting, right? Going slow or going fast, which is something that like most other signs don't ever really uh, have access to. But don't be hasty about your decisions and stuff like that. Come on, Aries. We know that if there's anybody who is hasty, it's you. You guys have that impatient energy, especially with the Emperor in the reverse. But I feel like you guys are heading towards the light now. I believe that you guys, if you can maintain your sense of balance, your sense of planning, and do things in a manner that allows you to work towards goals, you guys will have the ability to reach that stability. That's basically what this moth is saying. And at the same time, I feel like you guys have dove deep enough into your unconscious to understand when the universe is sending you a sign or not. Overall, I think you guys need to reconnect um, back to that ancient energy. And by that, we do through meditation. But we also do that by allowing the universe to lead us. And I feel that that's what's not going on here. So let's see what's affecting your ability to follow the universe, to follow the signs that the universe gives to you. All right. Oh, Lordy Lord. I feel like a lot of you guys got bored. Plain and simple. You guys got bored. You guys weren't receiving messages from the universe. And what ended up happening was that you guys went off and started doing your own thing. And then when things weren't going your way, you guys got bored, right? Oh, Aries. Aries, oh. But it's just to say that you can find that zest back in life if you're able to focus. All right. So, the fairies of the future. Yeah. So I feel like you're not receiving intuitive messages, and so in a sense, you're kind of like stuck in one spot. It's kind of like a lamb who doesn't know shit. They become more knowledgeable in that, and then they try to do whatever it is that they need to do. Oh wow! So the thing cut out, but I'm just gonna tell you guys real quick. For some of you Aries, I feel like you're not receiving these messages from the future, so you stay stuck in the same spot, just like a lamb who doesn't know anything. And that lamb has to be led in order to be shown how to do something, what to drink, what to eat, all of that. And so I fear that until you focus yourself and start to trust the universe and what it says, then you guys will stay stuck in the same spot, and you guys will stay stuck with that same boring energy you guys have been experiencing. Overall, I think you guys have a distinct and acute intellect about it, and you guys are having these flashes of intuition coming to you. But I think a lot of you guys are more focused on your fears and your worries and your doubts and all of that instead of focusing in on those intuitive messages that are coming in. It's almost like you guys are looking back instead of looking forward. If that makes any sense. Now, the reason I say that it's necessary to trust your intuition is because there is the end of a cycle, and that much is shown by the feline, right? And this ending of a cycle is it's kind of like your uh it's kind of like your chariot in a way. How do I explain this? Okay, you know how the fairy godmother grants that wish for, I believe it was Cinderella, right? and all she wanted to do was go to that ball. So I feel like if you focus on a certain one thing that you want to do, then the universe is going to bring that energy your way so that it starts to manifest things, just like the fairy godmother would manifest it for Cinderella, right? And then as that goes on, you start to understand and you start to realize certain things and certain aspects of what's going on. And that allows you to be able to focus again, if that makes any sense. Now, until then, I think you guys are going to stay in this Penelope Dreamweaver energy of, not being able to, uh, not being able to reach your dreams or not being able to see your dreams. But I think for the most part, some of you guys might have artistic ability. So if you guys sing, you guys rap, you guys make music or anything like that, and you feel your soul like pulling you towards it, do it. Do it because once you actually do that, actually, I believe that's another way in which, ooh, excuse me, that's another way in which you reach a connection to the universe. All right, so let's do Rider Waite Tarot, and we will see just what we are dealing with here by clarifying this boredom and this lack of forward movement that you might be feeling. I mean, this pretty much is plain and simple, but I want to go ahead and just draw some cards to clarify. Yeah, definite need to sit back and think, view things from a different perspective. If it hasn't been working for you one way, don't be insane and try to think that no matter how many times you do it, that something different is going to happen because nothing different has ever came out of anything that's the same that you've been doing, right? So you got to try something new. You got Rich Lop says, you have to be willing to do something that you've never done before to get something that you've never had before. I don't remember if that's exactly how he says it, but I mean, it makes sense, right? You have to be willing to do the impossible in order to make the impossible happen. So that all has to do with viewing things from a higher perspective and viewing things from a different angle in order to understand why it was that you felt bored, why it was that you weren't focused, why it is that you're still sitting in the same spot, and what you need to do in order to change that energy around. Yeah. All right. So what's at the root of it all? Restlessness. I don't think it's anything that you guys are being defensive about because you guys have the Nine of Wands in the reverse, but I do feel that in one way, shape, or form, you guys are getting ready for that new journey. Obviously, you guys have been trying to look into the future for whatever reason, and you guys were trusting on these intuitive messages. However, since they didn't come in, you guys got bored with life and got stuck in one place, which allowed you to come to this point in time where it's necessary to view things from a different angle. And, because this is the start of a new journey. This is actually taking a leap of faith, not taking a leap of doubt, and understanding that when you can approach the universe with the, hey, I'm willing to let you do what needs to be done and you to guide me in whatever way, shape, or form you see fit, that allows that new energy to take place. Now, this is also something that this is something that I know you've been, discussing, maybe planning with other people and stuff like that, because this guy doesn't do anything without planning first how they're going to take care of this major problem. So, the major problem, I believe, if you look at it from a different angle, you actually have the ability to come to a certain knowledge about this problem. At the same time, once you actually do figure it out, I think you guys will fight for it. I mean, it's just plain and simple. And because look at this, I'm telling you guys, the the universe does not lie when there's a change coming through, and just the fact that the Wheel of Fortune was upright as well as the the Fool. I mean, it's this is just simple. Oh, also, also before I uh, before I lose it, there's two sevens. Seven of Wands, Seven of Swords. So this is definitely about really analyzing it. That Virgo energy leaves no detail out, leaves no stone unturned, nothing. Everything, every little detail that you could possibly think of, that Virgo has probably looked at it. So this Virgo energy is asking you to take a look at these details and to find out what's leaving you restless and what's leaving you stuck in place. I know for Aries, you guys do not like staying in one place for too long. And if you're stuck in a certain area, you're not going to be able to move forward, right? So I think there's certain things that you have to leave behind. Honestly, I feel like it's certain thoughts, but I feel it's more like certain emotions. I feel that you guys have been through things that have kind of turned you into this thing, and now it's time to heal from it. It's time to move away from those thoughts that were keeping you in that form or that manner, and to allow yourself to move on to calmer waters. Because if not, it's just going to cause instability. All right, so now we're going to draw, or we're going to roll. Okay, so your life is taking on a more spiritual aspect. This is where you're going to be focusing in more on the crowds and more on everybody else and how you communicate with them. But it's also having to deal a little bit with relationships. Um, so this is definitely your relationships having to do with the greater crowd and how you communicate with them. Hmm. It's a very simple reading, Aries. All right, let's see. Mercury, North Node, and the Sun. All right, so yes, you guys have Mercury in your 12th house. So a lot of you guys might be feeling mentally trapped. Like you can't get out of your situation. Like you can't focus. So long as you tell yourself that you can't, you won't. It's that simple. Power of your thoughts. But I feel like overall, though, you're already understanding this, but just by your expression, how you put yourself out and how you express whatever it is that comes your way, right? Or how you react to it. Take a second to think about it, Aries. What's being shown to you right now is your North Node energy. Because if you take this and we spin it around, right? There's that Sun and there's that North Node right there. This is definitely hinging upon um, showing you what your true purpose is in life. You're, this is showing you that there's something that you have to move away from, which is the inability to focus by becoming bored, and understanding that there's a necessary need to be like a lamb at times to understand why things are happening. I think I'm pretty sure you know why it's happening, and a lot of it has to do with raising your self worth. But the decision has to be made. I mean, the decision has to be made, and it has to be an intuitive one. Now, this definitely has to do with your happiness, and it definitely has to do with communication, because we got the three right here on the side, and we got double threes right there. I don't know if you guys could see it, but that's a double three right there at the top on this side. And so yeah, this is definitely. I mean, 333 might be something that you guys. Yeah, 333, 336, 363, 636 might be angel numbers that you guys might be seeing at this time. All right, what else? Yeah, that's pretty much all the message that I get for you, Aries. So we move on to the next sign. All right, and I need to turn on my phone. All right. Let's see. We've done Aries. We've done Gemini. We've done Leo and Libra. We've done Scorpio. We've done Sagittarius. Did I do Pisces? No, I didn't. Okay, so let's see what comes up now. And we're systematically working our way through, guys. All right, so we've had Sagittarius. Virgo, all right. So, Virgo, the energy that I see is the split between Cancer and, the square between Cancer and Aries. So, Cancer and Aries, 11th house. All right, so looking at your guys' chart and looking at these planets here, you have Cancer in your 11th house. So specifically for you, Virgo, I feel like you understand that your destiny or your purpose in life, right, your soul purpose, has to do with the crowds. But more so, it has to do with caring and nurturing for the crowds. I believe it's more of a, how would I say it? It's more of of caring for the connections that you have to others, and also building upon that dream in that aspect, because you have Cancer in your 11th house, which deals with the people at large, and with Cancer, which deals with nurturing. But with the North Node there, that deals with how you care and how you nurture in your own way. That all depends on where your moon is at the time. And for those of you who are interested, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a link to a website that I use myself, that you can look up your information. If not, you can also, like, tell me to in the messenger as well, on Facebook. Tarot and Astrology for All with an exclamation point. Okay, getting back to this, there are a lot of different things that are going on in your life, and these things are there in order to help you to understand what it is that hurts you and why. But most importantly, though, these are things that are dealing with endings and conclusions. You have 9, 8, 7. You have things that are, well. First of all, you have Uranus and Taurus and Venus in uh, in in your 8th house. So there might be things that you guys are dealing with in terms of taxes, right? In terms of filing joint taxes, maybe a business that both of you guys had started, and maybe it's not going the way that it should, because along with the 8th house aspects, you guys have 7th house aspects that kind of show that you might have like a little bit of an irritability within your relationships right now. I kind of feel like they make you impatient sometimes. They might draw certain things out of you, deep wounds that you may express in those relationships. However, I feel that you understand to one extent or another, because we when we think about Virgos, we think about them looking at all the details. I feel that this is necessary for you guys in order for you guys to plan properly how to move forward with your soul purpose, and how to understand what really is your soul purpose. Because whenever we have Neptune going over the North Node, we tend to like see a fogginess. It's like clouds rolling in. You can't really see where you're going. So that's exactly what we get there. And that's happening in your 8th house. So there are things that are ending, Virgo, but you may not know why. And all of these things are there to show you how you can properly work towards your dream on a day-to-day basis. Now, you might have a lot of different things happening in terms of like how you go about having fun. Like, hmm, like I feel like with the Saturn influence going into your fifth house, you guys have been trying to organize your home in probably a big way, trying to expand upon it, putting in a lot of energy into your home and family. And at the same time, this is having a big effect on how you build it. But I see that all these planets in your fifth house. You see, third, fourth, fifth. Yeah, all these planets in your fifth house. I feel like you've been having fun doing this. And so, you know what? I've strayed too far. Just know that more self care and moving forward, ambitiously uh, without fear, and or harnessing that fearless nature. That's what's going to help you out a lot, Bourbon. All right. Yes. Tuning in to your higher frequency, tuning into your higher self, reading things between the lines, right? This is what we get when we look at the dragonfly energy. Now, this dragonfly energy is showing that you guys are elevating your thought process. You guys are elevating your frequency. You guys are tapping into a whole new uh, dimension, actually. But when you traverse when you traverse the energy, make sure that you follow, what source is saying. Make sure that you follow those intuitive messages, because what ends up happening is that sometimes we start something, then we start to get good at it, and then what ends up happening is that we move away from all possibility of uh, trusting source, and then we try to do things ourselves. So I think part of what's going on here is that you decided to try to move in to do your own thing, or to try to do things yourself. And in one way, shape, or form, the universe is asking you to be like a lamb, and for you to follow its guidance. Now, I think a lot of it has to do with you recognizing your inner beauty, and understanding that you have beauty because of your skills and talents and things like that, your personality and all of that, as opposed to just the superficial aspect, and your clothes and all of that. I feel that a lot of you guys are finally starting to understand your skills and your talents and stuff like that. So as you get the raccoon energy in the reverse, this is like coming out of hiding. And honestly though, I think you guys are understanding that to walk a spiritual path is is almost the same as walking a more practical path, because once you actually tune into that energy of the universe and that spirit energy, right, you get this lightning thingy that comes through. I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's lightning right there. You get these epiphanies, and when these epiphanies come in, you have the ability to elevate yourself to a higher frequency. And as you elevate yourself to that higher frequency, you walk a more spiritual path, which means you walk a more practical path as well. Some of you guys might need to meditate, sit still. Even if you're not meditating, just kind of go through your thoughts. Yoga poses and stuff like that would definitely be useful for that. And understand that deep, deep, deep down inside, there's a golden egg of an opportunity, and it's not going to make itself apparent just yet, but it will soon. Don't be surprised. And let me see. Hmm. With that moon in your guys' ninth house, I think you guys are going to be focusing quite a bit on your dreams and how you can reach your dreams. And not just how you can reach your dreams, but what would be the best path. Because, right now, the moon is going through your guys' ninth house, and it's in conjunction with Uranus. So, in conjunction with Uranus means it's also in conjunct with the North Node, which is going to show you where your soul pulls you. And at the same time, you have Venus in your ninth house. So I wouldn't be surprised if you guys were building up beautiful visions of whatever it is that you want to have. Now, make sure you maintain those visions, because then that's how you make them manifest. All right. So a lot of you are having trouble, I believe, with taking off the mask. Like maybe you guys have been involved with like social situations, social dealings with the mask on, and so I feel like it's kind of hard to like keep that mask off. Like maybe you guys put it up and then it just slides down. So that's what I get with that. But I know you guys aren't retarded. You guys, Virgos, you guys tend to look at everything. It's just the perspective in which you look at it. All right. And with the undressing of the salad in the reverse, I kind of feel like, yeah, you guys have been experiencing some type of inconsistency or like some kind of imbalance, and might have to do with something in the home, especially uh, with let's see, especially with the hmm, yeah, especially with the Mercury and Neptune in your seventh house. Like I would say, I mean, I would say that's actually pretty tough because I mean, not being able to see what's going on with your relationships, that could be tough. Trying to like traverse anything in relationships and just running into a bunch of fog. That's tough. But what do you do when you're stuck in fog, right? You got to turn on your high beams, and your high beams cut through the fog. Well, in this instance, you're supposed to turn on your spiritual high beams, because that's how you're going to understand what to do next. Whew. Yeah, there's something that doesn't. I mean, that's wants to end. I mean, there's something that needs to end. Karmic. A lot of it has to do with the way that you react to certain things. There's a certain death that happens to certain behavioral patterns when you can understand the meaning behind it. And that's exactly what Chiron is trying to show you with the way that you guys um, act impatient and stuff like that. So it knows that you have plenty of energy to you. You actually have the energy of Ra. This is the energy of the universe. It's like a Hadouken. And you want to make sure that you use that Hadouken properly to like blast away your obstacles, as opposed to trying to apply some type of helpful fix and only making things worse. But yeah, I have the simple idea that you guys can reach for a dream. It's just you guys have to understand that the things happening to you right now are a blessing in disguise. Once you actually do that, you'll get rid of your boredom for sure. Actually, life becomes a little bit more interesting. All right. Let's see. Oh, look at that. A lot of hmm, a lot of what's keeping you like moving back into your old patterns, your old, I guess, ways of doing things. It's feeling like either you're not loved or you're not nurtured. You're not you're not being given that Empress energy. And also with the Empress in the reverse, it shows that there hasn't been any growth. I think that communication is necessary in this, but it's plain and simple. If you're trying to change and then you don't get the support that you need, you revert right back to what you were before. I mean, there's you have to have a very, very strong willpower in order to overcome that. Yeah, and no new breakthroughs, no new anythings for some of you guys. I feel like a lot of you guys are dealing with this type of imbalance that's kind of hard to put your finger on. You know, I feel like a lot of you guys are trying to find out what it is, but if you're in balance, you're not gonna come to a certain epiphany or a conclusion. You have to first balance yourself, and I have a feeling that this has to do somewhat with money. And then once you actually balance yourself and you're standing on your 2 feet, then that's when you get to plan again. because this is a card. This is a card of planning again. This is similar to the Two of Wands, except now he's looking. Regardless of any trials and tribulations he's faced, he's ready to move forward now with charisma, with passion, with courage, really. But there's a necessary need to balance yourself on that physical level first, because you're not getting that support, Virgo. And if you are, well, you're avoiding it or you're not accepting it. However, I find that if you do accept it, you're going to be put into an emotional type of stability that no matter how rough life gets, you'll be in balance. And and when it comes to this Pisces energy, right? Because this is your opposition. That's how you reach healing. That's how you reach your balance, is by understanding the opposite sign of you. You understand how you put yourself out, and then you also understand what you really feel inside. Now, regardless, some of you guys might feel like this is like it's a competition to do it. Don't think of it that way, or else it is going to be a competition. But know that if there has been any type of message that you were waiting on, or any type of like action action that you need to make movement on, now's the time. All you have to do is just hold strength, or half strength, I should say. All right, and that's the Aries energy. All right, let's see. So moving forward, you guys are going to be dealing with Sagittarian energy. Now, Sagittarian energy runs off of faith, and that's something that Pisces runs off of too. So there's a little bit of a something that you need to develop in terms of faith and in terms of courage. But in terms of that, I feel it's very much the necessary need to meditate, because that's what's really going to help you to understand the universal energies and how to access them, and how to be able to organize your life afterwards. Because you deal with not just the Leo aspect of putting yourself out and being courageous, but it's also the ability to maintain organization of your life. Also, dealing with the energies of Mercury, you have a split between Saturn and Mars. Both Saturn and Mars right now are not just allowing you to put in the energy that you need to accomplish your dreams and your aspirations and stuff like that, but it's also giving you the ability to be able to understand how to move through the crowds and how to move through all of these things, while at the same time maintaining your sense of self and maintaining your sense of true self. Because that's what Sylvanas is about. It's about removing the mask that we think we were, or removing the stuff that we thought we were, and becoming our true self. Understanding who we are. And I believe that that's what you're going through right now, Virgo. And with the moon in Taurus, you guys are really going to find out what your values are. And in the next couple of days after that, you guys are going to be communicating that rather well, maybe emotionally, but you guys are going to be expressing. Working on that kind of thing. Also, yeah, this comes to a decision. Are you going to do the work, or are you just going to fall back into your unconscious habits? That's all up to you, Virgo. Thank you, Virgo. And now we will move on to the next sign. Getting closer and closer to the end here, which is good. Yeah, I was going to take a break, but I think it's necessary to just roll through these. Literally. Cancer. All right. Turn my phone back on. Oh, then it's not turning on. All right. So, Cancer. All right, Cancer. So I had to roll your die again. I did it simply because I picked up the die without actually looking at it, but you know, I felt something different for your vibe, so I ended up rolling it again. And Cancer, well, one thing I have to say is that communication is very important when it comes to whatever's going on for you right now, but it has to also do with how you receive advice, right? Because we're dealing with with the Taurus energy, as well as how you move forward with it and how you take action. It's very simple. You have as you communicate with others, you start to understand how you can best move forward, and you can't really move forward unless you have that advice, right? I part of me is wanting to say that you guys are hearing the advice but not listening to it. Um, a lot of you guys are, I want to say, acting impatient, like acting like not really taking a look at what you're doing and why you're doing it, and it's more of like there's tension. I feel like there's tension between you and what you have to do as far as your career goes, your soul mission and all of that, because you have the North Node in in your house in its own sign, and so a lot of you guys are being pushed to do your soul calling. For those of you who do not get into this push, you guys are going to be feeling that quite a bit, and there's probably going to be a lot of different communication coming in, letting you know that like you're kind of like on social lockdown or like communication lockdown. And at the same time, I know that there's a lot of different things that you guys are feeling, that you guys have been impatient about and probably expressing in an unconscious manner. But this has to do with like maybe what people have been communicating with you as far as your work or what you should be doing as opposed to what you're doing now. But that's all I get for now. We're going to go ahead and move into the rest of your energy. And, oh, all right. Oh, so Stingray. This card is always about building a spine, building confidence in yourself. It's about, you know, it's that S factor. You know, are you going to sting the people that try to help you? Or are you going to just, I mean, because you guys are looking for, or you guys definitely need healing right now. I feel like you guys need healing on many different fronts. I do feel like, in terms of emotional and in terms of your career, I think you guys have been getting a lot of shit. And so, honestly, this frog in the reverse, it means that you guys have to first build this energy of being confident in yourselves and opening up your chakras before you can actually reach this healing. And like I said, cards in the reverse always have the ability to flip themselves over and you can benefit off of that energy. But for now, I feel like there's a necessary need to build confidence in yourself before you can actually appear confident everywhere else. And I think to a certain degree, you guys have been in observance of that. Whether you guys have been listening to those messages or not, that's purely up to you. I feel some of you guys have, and you guys are making more of that push towards healing. But I think a lot of you guys just haven't really been letting go of these things that have not been working out for you. When we look at the Panther is about clearing out all those things that no longer suit us. It's similar to the Pluto energy, and at this point, you guys need to trust your intuition and understand that everything has a pattern and that everything has a beauty and an elegance to it, but what you learn here has the ability to affect your passion. But a lot of you guys aren't connecting to that intuitive energy. And I mean, definitely you guys are not tuning into uh, that energy. It's like almost like you guys are trying to move away from what your intuition is telling you, which is a bad idea, but I won't go there. I feel a lot of you are I feel like a lot of you have something to say and you guys have been calling out to the universe. You guys have been,